By the year 2050, Africa's population is projected to be more than double, making the continent that will possess over 40% of the world's labor force. Now, a key ingredient for harnessing Africa's population dividend will be the need to educate and effectively equip the youth with core skills that will be relevant for industrial transformation and to spur growth across the continent. Well, in view of this, the Human Capital Africa, a Pan-African organization, says it will, on the sidelines of the AU high-level meeting this week in Accra, host a presidential briefing that will bring about a concerted effort at empowering the Africa through education. Well, in studio with me is Dr. Obiageli Ezekwesili, who is founder, chief executive of Human Capital Africa, also former World Bank vice president of the Africa region. Happy to have you in studio to talk about this. Hope you're enjoying your time in Ghana so far.
So far, so good.
Thank
you, Daryl. Thanks for welcoming me.
Yeah, happy you're here. And I just wanted to begin with the crisis we are talking about. The millions of African children, we understand, are facing a critical learning crisis. Talk to us about the crisis.
So it's often the case that people go to school and, inherently, our expectation is that they went to school to learn. The sad news today is that learning isn't happening. And so we have a learning crisis globally where 6 out of every 10 children who are in early grade, which is the grade that you're in, 1, 2, 3, before the age of 10. And 6 out of every 10 globally are not learning, meaning they are not achieving minimum proficiency levels in literacy, numeracy, and socio-emotional skills. In the case of Africa, 9 out of every 10 children.
You're kidding me?
No.
9 out of 10 children.
This is the dismal data we're working with. I am known for saying that in God I trust, but every other person must bring data. So this is data that is well generated, and one that should make all of us angry enough to say, this is not acceptable and we must do something about it.
Well, we've got to make our viewers understand this. So, I mean, the kids are in school. I mean, we've told children are in school.
Yes.
But 9 out of 10
are really not
achieving
minimum proficiency level in literacy, meaning reading, in math, meaning the basic ability to perform at operations like 1 + 1 is 2, and 2 × 5 is 10. And they are not able to actually form the socio-emotional skills that enable the attitudes that are important to accompany cognitive and motor skills that they require for life.
Why is that the case? What are the lapses?
So there are many explanations for this. A major part of the explanation, as we found, through research, is that the teacher quality is one, but teaching method is a very significant issue. The absence of what we call pedagogical structure. So there's something called structured pedagogy. Basically, a very basic way of saying that when you are going to engage children in the teaching process, there are a number of things that have to be structured, and that if they are structured, then you're able to get children at a very wholesale basis. So you don't leave many children behind because a few smart ones are able to know what you're teaching. So it's a mix of how you teach method. It's also about their access to the right kinds of textbooks. It's about how you teachers write their lesson notes, drawing it from the curriculum. And we took our eyes off all of these things. We took our eyes all of what it means to actually really engage the learning experience of children. And so children go to school. We see them. They go to school. We see quite a number of them when they are coming back from school. But they haven't learned.
Yeah.
And we just keep moving on. And it's not, and part of it came from the lack of the right kinds of assessment. So our assessment system is so faulty that it wasn't catching up on this. And what we found through research is that because children are not learning at the foundational level, it stymies what they can be as they move through the whole value chain of the education process. That's what shows up in, they come out of secondary school and people are saying, I saw something recently where, people in the tertiary institutions, or was it secondary education in my country, were saying something like, stop sending us children who cannot, who are not doing well, and I'm thinking that's the more reason why every one of us must be advocates for the continent fixing the foundation of education.
I mean, for those wondering, watching and wondering, what has this got to do with anything? Tell us what this, how this impacts our economy. There are implications for other aspects of the economy, such as food security, labor, human capital. Tell us a bit more.
So, look, this correlates the wobbly foundation, the deficit that we see, where the performance is pitiful. It correlates to how many children will transit to secondary education and do well in order to prepare themselves for tertiary education, as the case may be. It correlates to the number of children who will fall out because the learning experience isn't working for them. It correlates to the fact that when countries have said, oh, we're going to set up technical and vocational schools. Well, they're producing people out of those kinds of technical and vocational, but they really aren't they're not providing the kind of skills, even in terms of technical and vocational. In order for you to be a good carpenter, in order for you to be a good plumber, you need to have literacy, you need to have basic numeracy. You look at what's going on, how it correlates to the issues of health. People need to be able to read, even if you're embarking on a campaign, on health. People have to access the knowledge through being able to read. So the entire chain of it is affected. And when you look at the fact of the labor mismatch that the private sector continually is crying about, that's what's driving it. Look, Daryl, it's pretty easy. If we're building a house and we say this house is not standing well, where do we first look? We don't go to the rooftop. we go to the foundation. Exactly. So that's what's going on. But because the constituency, the voice for foundational aspect of education is very thin. The people who are failing are the children of the poor. And poverty is also the absence of voice in our whole political construct. And so what we see is the elite of society with their children in university are more in the faces of politicians. Political leaders have political incentive to want to do something about university education. But come on, the most significant aspect of education that governments should be concerned about, foundational education. Because the poor need that. They need a publicly funded education at that level in order to at least enable their children access the rest of opportunities available in society.
Right, and so as you point out, improving foundational literacy and numeracy is not just about education, it's essential for healthcare, food security, climate change, economic development.
Everything.
Where do we start from in finding solutions?
So in finding solutions, it goes to some of the things I earlier said. So for example, we have to really train teachers well. When you look at the training of teachers, even in terms of, in-service training to sort of get them into new methods, into, the capacity to raise children at scale, that whole teacher thing is a major primary driver. But just training teachers and having more teachers and having quality teachers is not enough. Constantly, we have to have these in-service ways of ensuring that the curriculum, the lesson notes, accountability for outcomes, you bet that I saw it in my country when I was Minister of Education in Nigeria. You would find so much investment that's not producing the right outcome, but because people were not searching, they could not see the mismatch.
The same situation,
you have to be interested. You have to be interested in accountability. How many, the basic question is, hello, Minister of Education. Hello, District Head of Education. How many of our children in the classroom are learning? We need to have systems for being able to track the progress of our children. Otherwise, we get blind to it.
Yeah.
And then we end up in the data of 9 out of 10 of them not learning.
Well, speak of data, we know organizations like UNESCO and the World Bank are collaborating with African countries to develop standardized assessment tools and build data collection capacity. I want to ask you about that exercise and how that's going.
Yeah, so, look, the major barrier in most of Africa is this lack of a culture of data, where we somehow prefer oral conversations. And yet, without data, it's impossible to know where you are and what more you need to do, even to set targets of how you want to make progress on challenges. And so it's a massive investment.
Right.
But just external bodies being excited about it is not enough. The citizens must make their governments be excited about data. And
that's one of the things you're hoping to do at this high-level AU meeting this week. You're going to try to get African governments to commit to tackling this challenge. What are your expectations of them? How are you going to push this through during this meeting?
So first, there is the awareness part of it. This data came out, this research thing came out. Someone like Prime Minister Modi didn't find it funny in India. So what do you think he's done? He's the champion of fixing the problem. The same thing hasn't happened on our continent. It hasn't happened. In fact, a lot of them draw blind. When you talk about this data, I just told you the mismatch between, ministers of education of our countries were asked, what percentage of the children in your school system do you think are learning? They mentioned numbers that were just so exaggerated. So someone would say, minister would say, 80% of the children in my school system are learning. In the assessment, only 20% were learning. The mismatch is incredible. Right. So just bring into a place where everybody in your face, this is the data. What do you do with this? That's political, leadership that will arise from awareness. So political salience of the problem is important. And then we point them to the fact that this is not a problem without solution. Some countries, in fact, some districts, say in Brazil, are made within a year at community levels, the district levels, because, it's ultimately the classroom issue and connecting with the leadership issue. Schools were able, or whole districts were able to improve the learning outcomes of majority of children. So we will point them to evidence-based solutions. A lot of the times when we talk about problems in Africa, we begin to say, what do I think is the idea to solve it? No. There are ways that evidence-informed solutions have been found, things that have worked, interventions that work at scale. We have some of them already in Africa. So even in Ghana, there are some examples of things that work in improving learning. We'll point them to evidence-based solutions, and then we will hold them to accountability.
We have barely 1 minute. I want to talk about your school project.
Accountability.
Yeah, your school project. We just want to talk about that and how you're hoping that also helps.
Yes, so the other thing I do with my time is, building schools that would raise Africa's new political and public leaders. I'm tired of public and political leaders that don't listen to the important things around good governance. So we're raising a new generation of that. We'll soon be starting the SPPG, School of Politics, Policy and Governance in Ghana. We already have Nigeria, it's in the 4th year. We have Senegal, it will be in its 1st year. And then we're going to do Ghana, Kenya, and Zimbabwe next.
Dr. Obiageli Zikwesili, founder, chief executive of Human Capital Africa, also former World Bank vice president, Africa region. Great to have you in studio.
Thank you so much, Daryl.
Hopefully, we'll come back and find out what the outcome of your engagements with the African government.
That would be excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And that's